Sometimes not every gift is a gift. Some come with so many baggages, just like the one that almost ruined my life. I bet you have to sit closely and listen to this all over again.
This is based on a true story. In a neighborhood where I once lived, there was a young woman named Inyobon who worked as a banker. She wasn't just any banker. She was known for her hard work, her kindness, and the way she treated people. She worked long hours, often staying late at the bank. But no matter how tired she was, she never stopped smiling. Customers adored her. Some would even wait just to be attended to by her. They would say things like, Inyobong makes banking feel easy, or she treats you with respect. Despite the stress of her job, she carried herself with dignity. She was also engaged at the time and deeply in love with her fiance, Ekong. To everyone who looked at her life then, everything seemed perfect: a steady job, a good reputation, and a promising marriage ahead. But life has a way of turning when you least expect it. One of the bank's wealthy contractor, Udo, began to show her unusual attention. Each time he visited, he would slip her some money. At first, she thought nothing of it. She told herself, this is just a kind gesture from a satisfied client. But she was careful with it. She never mixed it with her salary or everyday earnings. She kept it all in one bag in her house, separate, like money she would only use in emergencies. Little did she know, those gifts weren't innocent. They were a trap. Over time, Udo's obsession became clear. His gaze lingered too long. His words carried hidden meanings. He wanted her, not in a normal way, but in a desperate, consuming way. When Inyobon realized what he truly wanted, she made her decision. She cut him off. She refused his gifts. She stopped picking his calls. She drew a line, and that was when his kindness turned into something darker. It was one hot afternoon. Inyobon had just returned home from the bank, drained from the day's work. Her younger sister Okeme sat outside with some neighbors, braiding her hair. Feeling unwell, Inyobon called out to Okeme, please go inside and get some money from my bag so you can buy me some medicine. A few moments later, a piercing scream shattered the quiet. Snake! 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 Okeme's voice rang with terror. Inyobon jumped up and ran inside, only to come rushing out with her sister. Both of them were shouting now. Snake! Snake! Neighbors gathered immediately. Fear spread. Among them was a pregnant woman named Ekaite. Calmly she said, snakes don't harm pregnant women. Let me go in. Everyone held their breath as she entered. When she emerged, what she carried in her hands froze everyone to the spot. In the bag, it wasn't a snake. It was something far stranger, a male and a female lizard, bound tightly together with a piece of red cloth, cowries sewn onto it. The bag that once contained stacks of money was now empty. The neighbors gasped. Some began praying. Others shouted in shock. Inyobon grabbed her phone and called her pastor. His instructions was clear. Burn them. Burn them immediately. And she did. The lizards were thrown into fire until nothing but ashes remained. The fear in her heart remained. Later, Inyobong noticed something strange. The phone she had used to snap pictures of the lizards became completely blank after a few hours. All the images had disappeared. Later that day, Inyobong couldn't bring herself to sleep peacefully in her apartment. The thought of what she had seen haunted her. Meanwhile, Udo kept calling, call after call, hours after hours. She refused to answer. But that evening, her neighbor urged her to pick up, at least hear what he wants. Reluctantly, she answered. His voice was low and chilling. You can't run from me. Her hands shook. She ended the call immediately. That night, she made a choice. She would not sleep in her room. Instead, she went to her neighbor Ekaite's apartment, where there was an altar of prayer. Surely, she thought, the presence of God would keep her safe. But safety was far from near. At midnight, her phone, which had switched off, began to ring. She froze. How could a switched off phone ring? But it did. The screen lit up again and again. The number flashing across it was Udo's number. Her chest tightened. She pressed the phone on the floor, but still it rang. At the same time, her banker friend, Abasiama, the one she shared the apartment with, was trying to reach her but couldn't get through. Then, at around 2 a.m., Abasiama heard something else. Voices, whispering, giggles, laughter coming from Inyobong's room in the apartment. Confused and annoyed, she got up, walked over and knocked. Hello, Ini. Are you there? She called. No answer. Ukeme? She knocked again, harder, calling Ukeme's name. Still no response. The voices continued. The giggling grew louder. Frustrated, she shouted, why are you making so much noise? Open the door. But there was nothing. Finally, she gave up and went back to her room, angry. She didn't know that she had been knocking, not on Inyobong's door, but on the haunted one. At dawn, Abasiama got up, still furious and dressed for work. But as soon as she stepped outside, her anger turned into shock. There, sitting calmly with the neighbors, was Inyobong. Abasiama froze, then demanded, Ini, why were you making noise in the room last night? I knocked and called you several times. Her friend's face went pale. What are you talking about? I wasn't in my room. I slept out here with them all night. The realization hit like ice water down her spine. She had been knocking on the room that was not her friend's at all. The night's voices, the giggles, had not been human. Fear gripped them both. Neither of them waited. Within days, they packed their belongings. Inyobong destroyed her SIM cards, cut all possible connections to Udo, and resigned from her banking job. She started a small business, choosing peace over wealth. Later, she got married to Ekon. From that day, she never saw or heard from Udo again, after series and series of prayers. But the memory of it never left her. Because not every gift is a blessing. Some gifts are chains. And sometimes what looks like favor is really a trap. The end.